The age of
Cool.
transition.
You are listening to The Age of Transitions. I'm your host, Aaron Franz, coming at you live this Friday night, May 1st, 2026, live from the facilities of Ocelli.com every Friday night, 10 p.m. to midnight Eastern Time. First hour, The Age of Transitions. Second hour, Uncle, the podcast. Thank you for listening. Do consider going to Ocelli.com and send a donation to Chuck. Keep the network going, help Chuck out. My website is theageoftransitions.com. You can go there for all things to do with this show. You can find the podcast there. You can find ways to support. We have Revolve Man's Scientific Rise to Godhood, paperback ebook copies, both available of that. There's the Patreon campaign. Anybody who signs up to that is helping this show. And we have a couple of affiliate links. So thank you for going to theageoftransitions.com for your support and for you're just listening to this show however you may be. Thank you for being here. It's another Friday night in the midst of the age of transitions. It's a wild time. It's a time of uncertainty. It's the age of doubt, and I doubt we'll figure it out, as the song goes. Couldn't agree with that sentiment more. But we're doing what we can, right? Through the confusion, through the insanity, through the digitalization of all life that as we know it. It has to be done to make the world better, right? So here we are. And it's just wild. I want to keep the show just loose. I have notes actually from a couple weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago, I was going to use, but then I didn't. I think I'll dip into them in a minute. But before I even do that, I just want to tell a couple little stories. Today, I took a Lyft ride, which I hardly ever do. I don't have a Lyft account myself. Every now and then I find myself in one of these things because I'm with somebody who does have one. If I happen to be on rare occasion out doing something, which isn't that often these days. But anyway, I took a Lyft ride today back from the car dealership because I took the car down there for maintenance. And, I asked, basically, is there a way, do you have a shuttle? Is there a way out of this damn place? Because I don't want to stay here. Like, oh, yeah, we'll do Lyft. Yeah, here you go. And so I got a free Lyft ride from the, free in quotations, right? Not real. No such thing as a free lunch, economics 101. But anyway, I got a Lyft ride away from the car dealership, so I wasn't trapped there. And the driver pulls up, standard little Lyft car, whatever. So just some guy driving it. Standard fare, right? Okay, this is a Lyft ride. I get in, we start driving. And I kicked off the small talk because, there's got to be either people complain about the driver small talking too much. I like talking in that scenario. So I got conversation going. It was gray. It was a gray morning with, some cloud cover. We call it marine layer here. And I just talked to the driver. I said, what is this? Is this June gloom? What do we got going on here? What's with this weather? And his response to that was that, well, they are doing a lot of things to the weather right now. Something to that effect. And I don't remember the exact thing he said, but he definitely used they. He definitely referred to they doing something to make the weather as it was. So I was like, oh, okay. So I immediately, I knew what he was talking about. I knew, it doesn't take a lot for me to understand that conversation started, right? That's so much of this show is the fact that, we've been in this world, the conspiracy culture world, for over 20 years now. And so these are the things that I recognize as a bizarre weirdo that's like that. So, conversation goes on. he mentions chemtrails. And so I was talking to him about chemtrails. I'm like, oh, yeah, I've saying how I was on the fence with chemtrails. Like, yeah, I could see them. I'm like, I go back and forth with my wife. Like, are they indeed chemtrails? Or is it, as they're saying, these naturally occurring contrails? I don't know. I could honestly see it being either one. And so he's going on, da, 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 da. And the whole conversation, he continues with, okay, so he does the weather stuff, and I'm hanging with him. I'm throwing stuff in there. I don't know if he fully. This is what's interesting, because it was like the manner of the conversation, I guess, is what I should really pull out of this, is that what he was doing, and I recognize it, was that he was, doing a presentation. And he turns his Lyft rides into the forum for these presentations, because I'm sure I'm not the only one that he's done this with. It seems like, he's, and I'm assuming here, but I'm assuming the idea behind this is that he does this on any occasion he can in order to do what? Well, get the good word out to help inform the public of the mass deception that's happening all around us, right? And I recognize that because I've been there myself, and I've done that same thing. So I knew what he was doing. I wasn't mad at him that he was doing it at all. In fact, I enjoyed it very much. I mean, I liked being on the other side of the conversation. I'm not saying that I disagreed with everything he said either. I'm not saying he was preaching to the choir, but he wasn't, facing an uphill battle with a lot of resistance either. You know what I mean? I was agreeing with a lot of what he was saying, and I was throwing extra stuff in here and there. I'm not sure how much that mattered, but anyway. So I think the moral of the story here is that anywhere you go, and I would venture to say these days, I know it's dangerous doing that, but I would go out on a limb and say, in today's world, within this moment in the age of transitions, you're more likely than ever to come across another person day to day that's in the conspiracy culture world, one way or another. And they're immersed in it. They spend so much time with it that it becomes a very important part of their life. Again, I relate to this, okay? Not judging. I understand all too well. But now, this thing, like, he reminded me of me. I like you because you remind me of me, a younger version of me. That's what this guy was like, right? So, yeah, this would have been the me from like, about 20 years ago. About 20 years ago version of me would be very similar in the way that he is evangelizing for the things that he believes to be true, and that by sharing this information is going to make things better. You have to inform as many people as possible, and when that happens, then, that's the blank to fill in that is nebulous and it's ever elusive. But be that as it may, this is an important mission for him, and it was for me. And I believe now that there's more of this than ever, we have come to a place where it's all of the same general conspiracy culture ideas have been there all along. Again, I'm not even giving a definite starting point to when this began, but for me it began back around the mid 2000s. So everything from that time period has just continued to move on. We've had different things happen, and there's always been different subgenres within conspiracy culture. You got UFO stuff, you've got paranormal things, you got Illuminati, you've got the I hate Jewish people, so that's the way I'm going to interpret everything. You've got you got everything, right? So that's the way it's always been too. And it's always been bad conspiracy culture. That is to say that the bulk of it is disinformation, and it's not helpful, and it doesn't help the average person in their life the more that they learn it. However, it's not all bad either. It is good, and I still believe that it is, if it's treated properly, but it very rarely is. And again, I'm not judging anybody that would, share this stuff in any sort of way, because there's so much of it thrown out there. And he was mentioning these TikToks that he watches, and this is where people are getting this information now. Back in my day, it was Crystal Link's website and weird internet forums where fringe weirdos would talk about these topics. So it was internet as it was back then, is whereas getting the vast bulk of, the general information. Then it's best if you go and you read books and you try to find actual sources for whatever it is that interests you. That's nice. That barely ever happens. But if you do that, then you're starting to do things right. You're on the right track if you do that. Again, it rarely occurs. But what you get happening is just this mass wave of conspiracy culture media that now is permeating throughout social media applications. Name any given social media app, this stuff is on it one way or another. And TikTok is big because there's a lot of information, not just with conspiracy culture, but generally speaking, people go on there wanting to learn about, XYZ, anything, wanting to inform themselves, wanting to enrich themselves by somehow learning about the world. And so people do that. Whether we like it or not, whether you like it, whether I like it or not, that's what's happening. People are going on there to learn stuff. And so it is that content creators are there to fill that need, because that's why people are there. So that creates a space where an aspiring content creator shows up and provides that service. And of course, we know the problem being that you have to trust the sources, in this case, the content creators on social media. You have to trust them, that the information they're purveying is reputable. This takes me back to my earlier point. Most of the time, this conspiracy culture stuff, it does more harm than good. It just does. That's where I am now. Now, if you disagree with that, I'm sorry. I've been doing this for 20 years. That's how I feel at this point. Other point reiterated, I do feel that if pursued and applied correctly, conspiracy research, or just research into parapolitics, into just into any spheres of power or political influence or anything that's going on in our world, any real information that you can find there is a good thing, okay? But it does take hard work. It does take time. And internet and social media most certainly is not set up for you to consume what it offers you in that manner. It just isn't. And we know this. Come on. Everything's made just so that you click on it. Engagement. Content creators are making stuff so that it brings the audience there, irregardless of anything else, whether the information is true, whether the information is useful, whether anything about it. It doesn't matter as long as they get you there and you stay, and they look at their little analytics like, oh, look, my engagement rate's high, and I've got 33% of the audience stayed for over 20 minutes of my show, and oh my God, that's great. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. All of them. It's the only thing most of them care about. The successful ones, the successful content creators, they're basically all, that's their game, okay? And that goes for the same people that were, I would have considered colleagues 15 years ago when I was really in the midst of, trying to make a name for myself and doing this and doing the Age of Transitions thing, transresistor radio and all that. The bulk of people that have had any success doing that, they are playing that game too. And I would venture to say most of them at this point don't really care about much more than staying relevant and just keeping whatever it is they have going. And that's just how it is, okay? It's a weird, sad world. But whatever, okay? This is just, this may be neither here nor there. To segue away from that point, another anecdotal thing that I have noticed in everyday life is that a lot of people, I'm talking about the average person. Envision the average person. Just the average American, okay? Joe Normal. What he's doing is spending a lot of time gambling these days. And why is that? Why is Joe Normal spending so much time gambling away his hard-earned money? Well, first of all, he'll explain to you, and what he's doing is he's rationalizing what he's doing by the classic gambling rationalization of, oh, I'm doing this smart, and I have a system. Oh, everybody has a system. Every gambler has a system. Like, I'm applying my system, and this is how I do it. And they'll proceed to tell you, I make this many bets a day. I make this many bets a week. I spend this much money. This is the way I do it. These are the sorts of things I bet on. And, the idea being that they're going to see more returns come in than they're going to spend money going out, right? They're going to be in the green doing this because their system is going to work, okay? Tale as old as time, or tale as old as gambling, what's the difference, right? So you've seen it once, you've seen it 1,000 times. Now there's more people than ever doing this. There's more people than ever into conspiracy culture. There's also more people than ever gambling. Why? Well, the answer to that is very simple. Because it's been legalized to an insane extent, and there's so many forums to do it that did not exist in the past. Most of them are what? They're applications for your mobile device. The same thing as social media applications. It's an alternative addictive application to use on your mobile device. The gambling one instead of the social media one. You could mix the two. You could make an account that's dedicated to gambling, your gambling interests, or you could be a gambling content creator. There's probably hundreds of thousands of people doing that right now as I speak. Because it's legal now. You can just do it. Which is, to me, one thing that's wild is how this has just kind of like come to pass, and we already take this for granted. It's like, oh, now we can gamble with all these different things. It's wild that we've gotten to a place where we can do that. Turn back the clock a decade, 2 decades, 3 decades, 4 decades. If you were to explain to them what is happening now, the good folks, Joe Normal even, 40 years ago, not only would they think it would be unthinkable, like, what, gambling is that ubiquitous and you're doing it on a weird little electronic device that you carry around everywhere? That would be weird to them, first of all. But second of all, they would regard it as immoral and degenerate. They would think, oh, those future people are such degenerates, and gosh, and they would immediately start. They would be judging them from the past. They would be making all these judgments. And what's funny is when you think about it, Joe Normal would be making a judgment about his future self, thinking that he's so righteous and believing that what future Joe is doing is evil. It makes him feel good about himself in the present moment. Little does he know, in the future, yeah, you're going to be the one doing that. You're going to be the gambling addict in the future, okay? So, you know, be careful if you're casting the first stone or whatever. You know, apply the Bible verse of your choice here, because, you know, Chuck, are you there? I think I hear you.
Yeah. You know what? I have a question for you as I'm listening to you think out loud about this. And is it only because people would look at it out of context that they would say, oh, this is gambling, this is rough, this is irrational, this is destructive, corrosive behavior? Because here's the thing about it. There are such a variety of convenient dopamine hit machines, one way or another, you know, presented to you mostly on the internet. And I mean, literally, you know, everything from that. I forget what the name of the site is, but it's super popular where you can literally bet on almost anything.
Oh,
Like,
that's
you know,
Kalshi is one of them. Kalshi.
no, not that one.
There's another one too. I mean, there's the sports
There's an,
specific ones, but I forget the other ones.
yeah, but
that's like
sports,
that.
okay. But sports gambling is sports gambling, right? So
Yeah.
we understand that. That's the rush, and okay. And that's been around, you know, ever since people competed. You know, they would bet, you know, cavemen were, you know, wagering a rock as to whether somebody would beat somebody in a foot race, right? Okay. So things happen there. That's sports gambling. But separate from that, how many dopamine, you know, machine hits are there? And I do mean that literally because that's what it all boils down to, right? Gambling, the thrill of the risk, the anticipation, the engagement. And I mean, if you think about it, whether money's being exchanged or it's credits on that, it's something else that's got a simpler name, not what she or whatever, but there's another one that's sort of like, you know,
It's
determinate or something.
Yeah, it's one of
right?
those prediction market
Yeah.
sites. And these things just keep proliferating because they can now. So yeah, I don't know. There's a bunch of them.
Well, right. But that's why I'm saying out of context, right? Is that some of these things started out as socialization tools, like, you know, Facebook and the like button, and therefore TikTok and X, you know, which was Twitter, and all these things. Okay, now you get, you know, the dopamine hit from the attention. You get the dopamine hit from the likes. You get the dopamine hit from the followers. Okay. So that's one way you gamble out there, or you enter into something and you drop, you know, your brilliant thoughts that are so freaking unique. Anybody detect sarcasm yet? You know, out there into the world, and your hot takes and your nonsense. Okay, everybody and their mother got a podcast now to talk about their favorite comic book and also disinfectant, if you like, and to rate the different new sandwiches that come out from fast food. All right, fine. So there's attention whores and there's socialization people. Then you take the gambling, and sure, they virtually made it, you know, the online casinos and all that. And you can go and you can gamble literally, but also you can talk to the other people at the poker table while you sit alone gambling for 9 hours straight and you didn't realize you didn't sleep Thursday, right? You know, stuff like that goes on. And people could do that with real chips in the real world, sure. But eventually somebody comes and breaks your leg instead of overdrafting your bank account, right? All right. All that aside, those are sort of normal, and socialization being cloaked in this digital, virtual surrogate reality. We get all that, and we've been over that material now, you and I, for over a decade publicly. All right, fine. But in addition, now everything has a social element to it, a dopamine, you know, hit and response. Either you're getting attention, likes, you know, virtual chips, Bitcoin, or dollar bills allegedly digitally being transferred around one way or another. You're micro paying on your virtual farm game so that you can grow carrots where you couldn't before. Okay. I mean, every single aspect here. from gaming to basic communication to actually gambling to speculation, because that's what that website is about. I mean, literally, you can speculate on how many times Trump is going to say tremendous in his next speech. You know what I mean? That website has, what will happen tonight, at WrestleMania. I mean, you name it. How many times will, the Usos slam whoever the hell is popular in WWE right now? I don't even know. Okay, how many hits will, the Dodgers get in the third inning? They literally have broken it down piecemeal so that you can bet $1, like you and I like to do every once a year, twice a year, right? On the show, except you can do it 24 hours a day. And there's that one site where you wager based on a percentage, and therefore, if you're correct based on the percentage, right, you go against it and you win. Like you can only bet $1. I forget what the name of that site is, but what happens is if it's 60% the odds are against you, you get $1.60 back, right? But if you lose the whole dollar, or you lose 60% of the dollar, whatever the hell it is, the weird equation, right? Where you're micro betting and you're micro participating in socialization. And there are various combinations of all of it. And meanwhile, not everybody recognizes all these things as the dopamine hit machine. They think it's all separate things when it's all part of one interlocking mechanism that is meant to do what, Aaron, right? What is it meant to do? We know what part of our animal brains it's calling out, it's attracting, it's literally trapping. And of course, the younger you are, the more susceptible you are. And even the class action lawsuits are starting to reflect that, right? We realize we made this addictive for kids. Oops. We realized that when we made Roblox, it was a perfect way for, cloaked pedophiles to approach children online, et cetera, et cetera. We realize this is damaging to people mentally. People with mental illnesses really shouldn't participate in all this, but seems like everybody's got a mental illness. So who the hell are you aiming it at, right? And we know from internal documentation, they knew they were building the addiction machines, even when they created something as simple as, once again, I bring it up, the like button. So out of context and looking at it, from the overhead point of view, Aaron, you could say all kinds of things about it. But as we swim in it, the people who are going through it currently, concurrently even, do they get that it's just one giant set of dopamine machines being distributed and customized for every single person based on the algorithm that we have taught to serve us? Or what? What do you think?
Well, there's a lot to say about that, Chuck. I mean, you're talking about the prediction markets, and yeah, of course it's all one giant thing, and it works on the same principle. And I was linking the social media, the gambling apps. They're all essentially the same thing. But
Predict It is that one app that had a simple name that I was trying to think of. Predict It, is actually that one with the dollar on it. But there's another one that's real super popular where they have the most ludicrous, like minor weird things. You can bet on anything. Will this go to a commercial break? You can bet on literally anything, and somebody is developing these scenarios 24/7. So there's never an end. You couldn't possibly bet on all of it, Aaron. How about that?
That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, this all feeds into, again, that my notes from a couple weeks ago was about the Back to the Future 2 reality and how we're living it now. And Biff Tannen is in charge of our society. He's running the show. And he's doing what? How's he doing that? He's doing that by creating a complete corrupt gambling system that he profits off of the foreknowledge of what he's doing. And lo and behold, that's what's actually happening in the midst of everybody, Joe Normal using these apps, social media, gambling, and otherwise. We're not supposed to just look in the direction of Biff and what he's up to, but when we do, it doesn't take a lot of digging to see what's going on. It's not that complicated to see what's happening. What it comes down to is that those in power are profiting off of gambling now. And yes, they're exploiting these prediction markets that we're talking about. They're also using crypto to run all sorts of scams, and they're gambling. So let's see here. I have a couple of news articles that I'm going to look at real quick here. This one was from March 30th. Okay, that gives you an idea of when I was doing these notes. This one was from CNN. The title of the article is Exclusive. Federal prosecutors are exploring whether prediction market bets trip insider trading laws. And a couple of the quotes I pulled from this article. Here's a quote. The increased attention by federal prosecutors comes as some players in the fast-growing industry are rushing to write and update their own rules and open investigations into suspicious activity. The expansion of bets into elections and sports is also creating a clash between state and federal authorities, end quote. So it's funny, people are making political bets, but they're also betting literally on sports. And there's been scandals in those and so many more things where there's been insider knowledge that people are using, just like Biff Tannen did, to make money on these things. So they're cheating, and that's what this story is about. Okay, another quote. Recent lucrative bets on the timing of the war with Iran, the capture of Maduro, and the outcomes of popular television series have raised fresh questions over whether bettors were lucky or if they had inside information, end quote.
Did you catch the news story about the military guy who
yes, he
is
was a
now
special ops guy who
being prosecuted?
He was there for the Maduro op in Venezuela, right?
Right. So effectively, let's just bear it right down, right? You're going to cover that article or no?
I don't think I have that one, but I mean, it's just another example of the same thing. It's the more recent story of the same, the same line of stories. Yeah.
But the summary here isn't Congress who's allowed to insider trade. Thank you very much. But no, a guy who had, top secret information because he was involved in a covert operation that the world wasn't supposed to know about, did what? He utilized that to benefit by, what was it, $400,000 or $200,000, I forget which, in a scheme with these predict type websites, right? I mean, is that not the nuts and bolts of that story?
Yeah, I believe it was 400,000.
400,000. I mean, and yet, do you see anybody we saw a headline for a second, but as per usual, hey, here's the headline. Okay, moving on. That's wild, man. Don't you think so?
Yes, it's insane.
Aaron?
Yes, I'm
Okay.
here. I'm sorry. I'm getting a little distracted.
No, I was like,
and you know why I'm distracted
I'm
with, Chuck?
sorry.
I'll just come out and be honest. I'm eating. And if you're watching the YouTube video, you're lucky enough to have seen me do that a minute ago. So there's something.
Okay.
All 10 of you that will watch
because I actually
this video,
interrupted.
Wait, what's that?
Hey, look, fourth wall break. I interrupted you before because you were having a little problem with your signal, and I figured out a way to straighten it out and boost it. And I didn't want you to continue speaking broken up. That's why I actually interrupted you. I wasn't really just trying to take up that time that I did. I did that.
Here's another little piece of behind the scenes information. I was hungry, so I ate something. So there's that too.
Aaron's like, Chuck's gonna run his mouth for a minute. I can shovel in some food, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much the thought. Yeah, so.
Okay. No, I like sharing this with the audience because sometimes people think, oh, Chuck's just being obnoxious and he just can't stand and, he has to speak at all times. He has to hear his own voice. I hate the sound of my voice. I only do that on Aaron's show with a real purpose. Like if Aaron is struggling with something, I'll come in and give him a couple of seconds to reset by speaking.
Yeah.
Or if I'm having a technical issue and I need to test it and, fix it while I'm talking, which is easier for me to maintain the sound than when he's talking. So sometimes I do that with that purpose because we're live and I don't tell you guys 9 out of 10 times when it's happening. And and I'll do that also if I know you need a break for whatever purpose for a few seconds. So, okay, just carry on. But I also throw in relevant information when I do it so as not to totally disrupt the show. But yeah, that's what I'm doing. Instead of going to a commercial break, I figure I'll talk for a minute, just like I did now, because I had a computer issue and I actually have a second device and that device crashed. So I had to transfer everything over to the one computer and it was giving me a little trouble maintaining your signal for communications. So I shut down everything else while I was talking and made sure that you were back to clear. And now I've probably given you a few moments to have a few more bites of your food. So now
How'd you
I'm going to go away.
How'd you know?
Okay. Until the uncle hour.
And I saw that Cal Puppers in the chat give me a hard time about it, so that's funny. Yeah. So, hey, it's a special show, special treat. This is like a Twitch stream, ASMR style. I could really... Yeah, I do the live stream video now. So if I really wanted to... And I was complaining about conspiracy culture earlier, and I've been doing this so long, I'm mad about it. Why don't I just shift gears tonight? I just become an ASMR streamer. I just take my food, I go, make as much noise as I can on the microphone, because that might be, better information for people than conspiracy stuff. Yeah, it would get. Yeah, exactly. I get more listeners. I get a wider audience, and we could just shift gears tonight because why not? So we could.
Or either that, or you and I could present ourselves to whoever the new owners of InfoWars is going to be, and we could say, "Hey, look, fresh start. We have experience. Give us a job. You can afford it."
Chuck, wait. I'm going to stop you right there because I know it's the Onion is taking over InfoWars, and I know it's Tim Heidecker is taking it over. And to be completely honest, I actually thought of how could I actually send some sort of message to them to apply for a job, because I would honestly love to work at Infowars.com now for the Onion and make comedy material, and I feel that my experience gives me a lot of good knowledge where I'd be able to write a bunch of crazy, a lot of good material. I feel like I could do it. But, I mean, maybe I'm not funny. So, I mean, that's the problem.
Yeah.
The problem is I'm an unfunny guy that would like to do that. But, So,
well, listen.
I'm serious. That'd be fun.
Well, look, maybe I'm not funny either. No, listen, I'm with you. That you think I brought it up just because I was being ludicrous? No, I meant it. Yeah. And the fact is, I think we could both pull it off. I think if we work together, we could show up as a team. It would be unique. I wouldn't mind co-hosting a show with you over there, especially if they're going to pay us a good rate. Yeah. Let's do it. And it would be fun.
I would love it.
Okay. So look, that aside though, here's the thing. The right-wing spin currently in the media, of course, is that the Onion's not really going to take over the Alex Jones thing. And of course, Alex is now desperately strapped, even though he had plenty of time to prepare the parallel broadcast, as I explained, when the Alex Jones network was launched and everybody was screaming, "The Onion took it over, oh my God." And I pointed out that, as per usual, and even on my show tonight, I pointed out, guess what? You know what? Well, the Onion was supposedly taking over the front page anytime you hit the store links on there, even when the Onion supposedly controlled Infowars.com. Guess what? It still went to Dr. Jones and his dad's vitamin company and all that. You could still buy all the InfoWars stuff while the Onion allegedly took it over. Yeah. So there's more than meets the eye. I don't know if the right-wing spin is correct, but the right-wing spin is like, oh, there's an injunction that's up in the air. It's not really them taking it over. But, yeah, I've seen it reported both ways. And frankly, yeah, I think the Onion is finally going to take possession. Yeah. But does it matter? Is it even relevant to Alex Jones, who had a perfectly good parallel and, a year-long commercial for the Alex Jones network, on InfoWars? So,
and that's the dark,
how valuable is it?
That's the dark side of what the Onion may or may not be doing, is they're just giving him more publicity, even when they're trying to be against him. Does it really work? There's no such thing as bad publicity, that sort of thing. So, I love the idea of the satire of it, and I would love to make some, and I've been saying for a long time there needs to be satire of conspiracy culture stuff more, and that's been a burgeoning thing. Like, the first person to do it right, actually make it good, was Connor O'Malley, the comedian. I mean, he is top notch. He's his material's so good. He's got YouTube. He's a stand-up comedian. He's a writer for different comedy things. He's on top of it. Like, I've not seen anybody do it better. The Onion's gonna be hard pressed to do it better than him. But be that as it may, this seems like it's something that's finally going out there, which needs to happen. But the promotion of the old InfoWars, everything that is, and another point I'll make on this: anybody who is taking the side of Alex Jones and all of them, the old InfoWars, if you're taking their side at all and saying like, oh, they're being wronged, oh, they're trying to steal stuff from, if you're on their side, shame on you. First of all, there's nothing good to be said about anything to do with that. Now, some of the people that have escaped that cult over there that was running Infowars.com, I mean, there's good people that have escaped, and continually people are leaving and saying it's the same story every time. Like, I had to get out of there. I was sick of, doing this insane job just spinning fake stories all the time, and they don't even go in as deep as they could when these people leave into like the reality of the horrors that are going on over there. And Alex Jones, how bad of a person he really is. He's horrible. So if you're defending him, shame on you. That's all I have to say. And I know that there's a lot of people, back to the point I made earlier, the people that have hung around in this world because they think that they can just keep waltzing around and that they're actually getting something out of this. Maybe monetarily they're getting a little. I doubt it's even very much. It's not worth it to continue holding up characters like this, like Alex Jones. If you are putting him up on any kind of pedestal, I don't care how low it is, if it's any kind of pedestal, stop doing it. And the people that are doing it should know better. Anybody who's been around for even 5 years, but if you're talking 10, 15, 20 years, if you've been around doing this that long and you don't know by now what the story is over there, you're either a complete moron or you don't care. You're doing ethics? No, there's no ethics, because if you know what's going on, you won't have it. So you're either a total moron, which I think there are a couple of them, or you have zero ethical compass in what you're doing, and you're presenting yourself as though that's it. It's like we're saving the world, and like they're the most ethical people, and they're on this mission to save everything. And it gets back to the common person I was saying earlier is taking all this in of that mission, that missionary drive, that evangelical urge in people that's being exploited. And not only are the people that they're watching for information presenting in that evangelical presentation, they themselves adopt it in their day-to-day activities of driving Lyft drives and things like that. So the point that you were making, Chuck, earlier, these seemingly separate things, different sort of apps, you could look at as the same app doing the same thing. Building what? Building up the new world order? I don't know if it's ordered yet, but when it is ordered, it will be by algorithms. It'll be artificial intelligence. The artificial intelligence systems of the owners of what this thing being built up, which is the new America. The topic at hand every week now is what is being built all around us. It's quite obvious when you look at it. It's not even complicated. It's just complicated in the amount of, they would use data points, right? If we're going to use data science and all this stupid comp sci crap, the amount of data points that we have is huge. But don't let that confuse you. The basics of what's going on here is all quite simple. And so we get lost in the details. And it seems like so much of this fumbling and bumbling all around, it's getting lost in the details. And
the New World Orderly, brought to you by Peter Thiel and Palantir. Yeah?
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. And it's really that simple. That's the group that has bought and paid for the government. And they're doing it so that they can continue rewriting the rules as they go. That's the whole point of what's happening now. Especially if we're talking about the federal government and all the insanity we've seen over the past couple of years, that's what's happening. It's them going in there, kicking everybody in D.C. who was there out. And we could complain, oh, those bureaucrats, they had it coming. We could do that. But the point was, all of the old school career people in D.C. got the concept was to boot as many of them as possible so that they could just swap out the government as a whole for a new technologically augmented, or it's the technological backbone is what they're building. They want the United States government to be run as one giant system that they own and operate, of course. And any branches of government, any departments, they will all be under their control. They will be running them all. And are they going to what do they have to gain from this? It's not just monetary gain, which there will be plenty of that, but it's control, obviously, in every sense of the word. And it's so obvious that even like the good thing is that everybody's seeing this happen now, which is odd. That it's become so obvious that there's not. I haven't seen a good argument against this. Now, be that as it may, the propaganda machine, which is also part of this same thing. Let's simplify things too. It's just one other aspect, one task that this giant algorithm has to run is the propaganda operations to get people going along with things just enough that they can continue doing what they're doing. That's working well enough so that it can create enough doubt in people that, yeah, we've heard all of this stuff about the takeover, the takeover of the United States system. And yeah, we see this rise of this oligarchy, and we even know we know the names of the people doing it, and yeah, they're billionaires, of course they are. But, just seeding little seeds of doubt, just like, oh no, it's not that bad, or they throw you off, they get you, reel you back into the culture war. They bring that old thing out. They love that one. That's like their favorite. That's their favorite tool. It seems to be their favorite one in the propaganda war that they're waging against us, is the culture war. So don't engage. Do not engage. However tempting it may be, and that's for all of us, it's tempting to jump in there and try to, on either side of the debate you choose, very tempting. They're good. They're good at what they're doing. They know how to addict us. They've been studying that for long enough, and they're the experts at doing that. So it's what they do. So don't fight them at that game, because you're going to lose. And we all have, myself included, we're all partially, I don't know if the word guilty is right, but, we've all played our part in this. So just be aware of all this. That's the constant takeaway. Chuck, do you have anything over there? I hear you over there. What's going on?
Oh no, I'm just listening along. I don't have anything really relevant to add here. Just that we're coming close to the end of your hour, and I think this is a necessary discussion. I'm really glad that you're having it mostly with yourself. And sorry again for the interruption, but I just wanted to stabilize stuff and help you out with your point at the same time. So looking forward to the Uncle Hour. I have no idea what's going on this time. Although I bet you have one thing to discuss from earlier today, but
Yep.
outside of that, I don't know what's going on. So I'm looking forward to that. And, there you have it. So we're about at the end of this Age of Transitions episode, but we're not really at the end of the Age of Transitions episode, right?
No, we never are. It continues on and on, whether we like it or not. This is the times we're living in, so we can deal with it. We can deal with the card we've been dealt. And thank you, Chuck, for helping transition the Age of Transitions show into a brand new and improved ASMR live stream where I will eat my dinner every week. So all new viewers that saw me eat my food, be sure to tune in next week where I eat something else, and it'll sound a little different because the texture of the food will be slightly different. So if that's not a hook, I don't know what is. So
well, will you be taking listener requests for different things to ASMR? Because I noticed that there are plenty of successful ones that like, you want to hear me eat spaghetti, I'll do that. If you want to hear me eat crackers or play with a comb or something, I'll do that. Are you going to start taking requests?
Well, I guess I have to. I mean, that's how this works. So, I mean, I don't really have a choice, Chuck. So, yes is the answer. So, yeah, well, just tell me.
There's no rules on this. Come on. There's no rules here. What do you mean you have to?
It's the rules of the analytics, Chuck. If the analytics deem that I'm going to get more views by doing something, that's what I do. Okay, so.
So you're going to be a slave to the algorithm and answer to the faceless supercomputer, yeah?
Yeah, I have to. I mean, there's no other choice. I
Wow.
don't make the rules. I'm just content create. What do you want me to do, Chuck? I got to do this.
Listen, I don't make the algorithm. I just do what it says. Okay, I got you. Okay.
There it is. Thank you, Chuck. I'm glad we cleared.
Yeah, exactly. We cleared that right on up. So, hey, there you go, guys. You heard it here first. Okay.
I guess I will try to tie a bow on the crypto or all the sorts of scams that our dear leaders are running on us now. Here's a little note from that same story from earlier. This is another quote I'll just read off real quick. In August, Donald Trump Jr. joined the advisory board of Polymarket after venture capital firm 1789 invested an undisclosed amount of money into the company. He's also an advisor to Kelsey.
Oh, Polymarket.
Oh, there you go. Well, there it is. Polymarket. Yeah.
I got to interrupt because Polymarket was the thing I was trying to think of. Predictit is that weird one with the dollar, and Polymarket is the super hyper popular bet on anything. They have a billion scenarios up there, like almost literally, not quite, but almost. It's like anything you can think of. What color shoes will somebody wear the next time they're coming out of their house publicly? What will be the next word given first at a press conference? Et cetera, et cetera. It's pretty wild, man.
Yeah,
so, Polymarket, that's it. Thank you.
Big surprise. Biff Tannen Jr. is invested and making money off of that now. So not only do these guys make the little bets and they tell their buddies what bets to make, they're like, here, this is coming up. And there's been so many stories about minutes before our dear leader drops some idiotic Truth Social post. There's all these bets that are made that will that make money based on what he has to say. So this is it's just nothing to see here. There's nothing untoward. Biff Tannen isn't ruling over all of us. That's a bunch of libtard nonsense. I don't know how anybody would get that kind of idea out of anything, but. And I have a lot in my notes of just example after example of just more of these digital scams that are being run, because that's the economy now. Is the system that's set in place that can be exploited by people with insider information. Guess what? It's happening all the time now. It's still illegal to have the insider information, but it seems as though it's impossible to prosecute anybody who does this, because time and time again, if you look into any of these stories, nobody really ever gets in trouble for it. It's just always like, well, it seems as though somebody had foreknowledge of this. It seems as though somebody had foreknowledge of that. The only one that seems to be popping up where maybe something will happen is this guy in the military, this special forces guy. Maybe he's going to get in trouble. That's the only one that pops up to my mind where somebody looks like they're caught. But when it comes to the guys that are, the ones giving the orders to these special forces guys, you think they're going to get in trouble ever? No, they aren't. not only are they going to profit off of these ridiculous prediction bets, them and their chosen cronies, but they're going to profit on the actual forum itself by owning it, like Biff Tannen Jr. and Kalshi and Polymarket and all that. Just for the record, I thought Kalshi was one of those health food cereals. Wasn't it like a granola cereal? That's my memory of Kalshi being a granola cereal. But again,
That's Kashi.
Is it? Okay.
That's
okay.
Kashi. Yeah,
right,
Kashi.
All right.
Close again, Kashi. Yes.
So whenever I hear Kalshi, I think of this granola cereal. But no, it's just another prediction market site. So nothing to see here, folks. This is the world we live in now. And I'm not here to throw judgment on the average person losing money to these things. I'm definitely not. I mean, am I going to make just the statement of fact that when you bet just on a whole, you're going to lose more than it's a losing game. Unless you are who? The house. You aren't the house. You're somebody walking in there. You're walking in a house where you're going to get robbed. And it's just that simple. It always has been that way. Still is. The house is now digital. It's now housed within your mobile device. But the basic rules are the same. You're going in there to lose money. And that's just plain simple fact of the matter. If anybody wants to do that and spend time doing that and even rationalize doing it, I'm not going to judge anybody for that. I'm just going to sit here and crawl into a corner and weep over the state of the world, as I typically do every day, at least for a minute or two every day. I'm just going to continue doing that. And, you know, it's not going to do anything, but just know
is that a
that's
casino? Hey. Is that a casino in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me, Aaron? Okay, hey, let's close this one out and get on to Uncle.
Exactly.
We need the comedy hour.
We do. This is enough of, we're sick of hearing about Biff Tannen and Sons, so let's just move on. So, theageoftransitions.com. Thank you for listening. Let me know what you want me to eat on next week's show. Stay tuned to Ocelli.com for the Uncle the Podcast show. It's coming right up. So stay here. My name is Aaron Franz. As always, I will leave you by saying, Seeker, seek on.